Now I must admit the excitement on my face all week was pretty hard to hide, and only when you finally coupled it with the reason, well, you truly understood why. Hey, welcome to this edition of Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Roberson. Now behind me is the 2018 Chrysler Pacifica, and yes, it is a minivan, and well, yes, it was quite exciting. And what truly made it exciting is, well, it truly fits basically every need that you might want. Everything from entertainment to carrying all your friends to pretty much hauling everything you need. And then add to the fact that this one's a hybrid, well, we add fuel economy to boot. So I know what you're thinking, what is so exciting about a minivan, especially if you've watched my shows and you've learned that, well, bigger is better attitude with me, and typically that revolves around an SUV. How does a minivan fit that equation? Well, first off, it's quite big. Even better, has plenty of room right inside and has the entertainment of, well, almost an IMAX theater. But truly it starts on the outside. Minivan, pretty much straightforward. No one's going to confuse it with, well, is that a crossover, is that a sedan? No, it's a minivan. They pretty much assume you're either going to the soccer field, grocery store, or, well, going to go pick up 100 kids. Otherwise, what it does is deliver what you need. And often, a lot of times we look at vehicles and we see what we want. This is going to deliver what you need, and what it starts with is basically what lies beneath here. All the entertainment, and of course you can go straight forward, get rid of all that, but also the ease of ingress. When you have those big SUVs, you have to work at it right here behind the seat. When you have a minivan, well, you get in and it's quite easy to go down the road. So what am I referring to with the easeability of this vehicle? Because after all, most vehicles you climb inside, press the gas, and you know what to do after that. But when it comes to a minivan, it's just a little bit more refined, a little bit more comfortable, kind of like that luxury liner when it comes to sedans. Well, this is the next best thing when it comes to bigger vehicles. Now, truth be told, this is quite sizable, basically around about 203 inches overall, wheelbase about 121. That's easily bigger than the average midsize SUV, and well, creeping up into the large segments just the same. But what the true difference is well, when you look at the overall height. First off, it's going to be under about 6 feet when it comes to height, about 5.1 inches ground clearance, and that translates really to ingress. Some SUVs, you really got to climb up the ladder to get inside. Not the case here. The only really big number besides the overall length is the width. This one, with the mirrors and everything thrown together, is pushing about 7.5 feet wide. And that can give some people a little bit of heart palpitations, especially in the tight zones. So the Chrysler Pacifica definitely measured up when you compare to SUVs. After all, midsize is going to be around 180 inches, about a foot and a half shorter than what you see here. And in some cases, those SUVs don't nearly deliver the comfort and, well, the 3 rows that the minivan and, well, the Pacifica deliver. Now, what I truly like is the design. Now, the SUVs are going to give you a little bit more sculpt and refinement. They're going to look, well, kind of cool. The minivan, everyone knows what it is. So what you're going to start with, and the features I like, is what you see across the top. Glass all the way around. Now what that first does is illuminate the interior. Really allows for the inside to feel, well, a little bit more exciting, especially considering the whole top is almost glass, pretty much allowing light to come through the top, through the sides, and really allowed for a wow factor, well, when people looked up and saw the sky. Next off is pretty much, that's a 360 view. When people are in there and you're visiting the Grand Canyon, not a bad seat in the house. And secondly is the operation of getting in. Again, the ingress. Now what you're going to notice with the front door is massive. This is truly bigger than some of the big SUVs. What that also means is with the low stance, this is almost like a sedan. Pretty much turn around, slide in, close the door, a lot easier, and especially a lot more relaxing. Now, one thing that's been out for decades with the minivan is the sliding door. Now, as it evolved, of course, it's become powered, but what is even easier is when you're carrying things, you come simply right up here, wave the leg, it allows the door to go, well, hands-free. This is a crucial point because the minivan is there for parents on the go, or for people that are just busy and are carrying things. This is just one step of automation that vehicles are going through that allow it to, well, work with the people, not against it. Before we move around the rest of the vehicle, let's talk about some other operations here on this side. First off is really the fill-up areas. Now there's 2 options. First is the old traditional gas fill-up, and what I like is that is a secured area all the time. If you need to access it, pretty much a button here on the door, pop it open. Even better, it's capless, making it, well, one step less to, well, fill the vehicle up. Next is the hybrid system. Now, this isn't kind of a throwback Thursday with the combination of electric and all that to get better fuel range. Now, of course, it has that, but even better is the full battery option. Now, what I'm referring to is the plug and drive type system. Plug it up overnight, let it charge the battery, and go full electric mode, kind of like a good old golf cart. Now, the advantage to that is, well, no gas, no money. Of course, you got to pay for the electric, but let's just say that's cents on the dollar. Now, what that equates to is about 33 miles of range on average, and that's really great for city dwellings or just running to the store, coming back home, plug it back up. A lot of times you can pretty much get rid of your gas fill up and go straight here. Now, if you opt for more of the hybrid traditional setting, that's easily going to creep up your fuel range and miles per gallon easily above 50, they're saying, and maybe as high as 80. Now, some other operations is smart key system. Now, there's no fiddling around here. The good old advancements in the inside has also translated to the outside, and what I'm referring to is the easeability. Not only can you wave your foot, open the door, put your hand right here, it unlocks with ease, and the best part is it truly unlocks every door. So that way the kids really ready to get in after the soccer match, well, they're going to be able to pull the handle, climb right in. Now, even better, you can pretty much close any door with the sliding with ease, and there's corresponding buttons. So if you say, little Jimmy, I forgot to lock the door, well, you can press right there and run away. Now, the engine on a hybrid like this, you expect to be a 4-cylinder, something small, something that sounds like a sewing machine. Well, actually, this is a 3.6 liter V6 engine, and when all coupled together with the hybrid and all those technologies, equates to roughly around 84 miles per gallon. Again, averaging about 33 miles strictly on electric. So, well, even though it's a hybrid engine, you definitely got some get up and go. When you climb inside the Chrysler Pacifica, one thing you're going to note is all the wow factor that lies beneath, the excitement, the entertainment, the leather, the room. But on the outside, well, it may fall short. That is until you see the rear spoiler. Now, what's great about this is it may look, well, like it's operational, but it truly gives you a kind of exciting back end. Otherwise, it's also meant for aerodynamics, maybe a little bit more better fuel economy, but otherwise it's just put there to say, hey, we're a minivan, but we're cool. Adding to that is the tinted glass. This is great in the eyes of the kids because, after all, do they want to be seen with mom and dad? No. So darken the windows. That way they can feel like they're being driven in a limo. Otherwise, the back end is pretty much a plain Jane. Standard rear taillights and pretty much straightforward design. But really what's great back here is the innovation. First, starting with the backup camera. That'll really allows you to see what's going on and should be standard on any vehicle, especially one this big. Secondly is the backup sensors. Now, these are great in the tight spots backing up, but also that cross traffic awareness. This vehicle really alerts you with vehicles coming from your blind spots. It'll see it long before you do. But the other innovation comes in the form of the operation of the rear hatch. Now, as you saw on the sides, it is a kind of motion detector kind of situation. The same thing back here, but it took me a second to figure out how it operates. Basically, I kept waving my leg around, trying to find it, and eventually it comes up. I truly haven't found the sweet spot yet, but it's somewhere back there. Now, once it opens up, what you're going to find is tons of cargo space, really rivaling any SUV and truly doubling anything you're going to find in a sedan. So let's look at the numbers to understand what this cargo really can hold. So let's look at the cargo back here, specifically this open area. Now, it's a nice deep void. That's going to allow you to gain more cargo than a traditional floor right here. Really averaging around about 32, 33 cubic feet just in this area. That compared to the sedan, that's going to be easily 14 or cubic feet or less. As for an SUV, probably comparable if it is a bigger SUV. Now, if you want to extend this, it's really easy, but what that's going to do is almost triple the amount of space up to the second row. If you lay the entire area flat, that's going to be around about 140 cubic feet. Plenty of room to really haul about anything you can imagine throwing in here. Now, as for the operation laying these flat, first thing you'll notice is really a singular headrest in the middle that you can extend up. That will create a little bit of a blind spot, but not that big a deal. On the outer sides, you do have these here. Basically put them in place when you need. Otherwise, you just pull here, they tumble forward. Now what's great is the operation is fairly straightforward. There's a little tug strap down here with a number 1. Basically that means that's the first step, obviously. What you're going to do is simply pull on that. It's going to release and actually tumble backwards. Then you simply let it go and it goes into place. And what's great is this is about a 70-30 kind of split. A 2-person seater goes away, you have a 1-person here, or reverse it. Really allows you to kind of have multiple cargo options. Now what's great is you can do that, of course, to both sides. And when you do, it allows for one flat cargo area. And we'll look at transforming the middle in just a second. Now climbing in here to the back end, again you have the nice flat cargo area, but one thing to really look at is the squared off look to the back. Now what that means is pretty much there's no curvaceousness to the rear pillars, and that really gives you about the most cargo options as you can have, because again, if this was sculpted and curved in like some other SUVs, well, that's going to creep in on your overall cargo feel. Now as for the ergonomics, what you're going to notice is you do have a singular cup holder on this side, the driver's side. On the passenger side, you will have 2 cup holders, all for the 3rd row. You also have a USB connection on the passenger side as well, so the back occupant is going to have to kind of fight it out. Now what you also see is this huge cargo area right here. Now this hatch, basically when you open it up, that's going to be the charging cable where you can stow it away when you don't want to charge this vehicle. It has a nice little bag, really easy to stow away. This is a rear battery access if you need to access it. Also a power port here on this side. Even better, the good old push button to lower that rear hatch. Even better, it's at everyone's height, so well they can get to it with ease. Now last thing to talk about is these window shades. Now what this does is really allow this vehicle to cool down even one more step. Basically putting these up minimizes the kind of sunlight coming through, makes it feel a little bit cooler and, well, look cooler. These kind of look like limo shades to me. Really makes everything a little bit darker and cooler in those hot summers. Up above you will find a single port glass for the rear passengers. Now looking at the second row, what you're going to find in this particular model is the captain's chairs. Really the best comfort when you're going down the road. You got dual armrest on both sides, nice sculpting, and it's not too narrow, not too bolstering, so it really accommodates anyone. Even better is it does have some reclinability pull right here, so it really turns into those kind of long haulers that allow you to have, well, just that extra level of comfort. Now what you also find is entertainment in the form of 2 flat screens on both sides versus those old huge TVs we used to have in the old days. Also individualized connections for both sides allows each to be independently entertained. As for the 3rd row, well, they can just pick which side they want to watch. And of course there's headphones to match and a remote. Now as for the 2nd row and, well, changing the cargo, not the best option on this particular model because there's no stow and go on this model, but instead simple captain chairs that are put into place, which means if you want a true flat cargo, well, you're going to have to physically remove those. Not the best option. Instead, in some cases, you may just prefer to lay these flat and, well, do the best you can. So what you want to know on any big vehicle is, well, how comfortable is it? Not just in the seating, but, well, in the overall stretchability, specifically legroom numbers. Now, what you're going to find up front, 41 inches. 2nd row, not too shabby, 39, and in the very back, 36. But what makes this vehicle stand out is the fact of that low ingress. Again, just about 5 inches of ground clearance, and just the overall, well, living room feel. These seats truly feeling like a lazy boy you just drug out of your living room. Now the outside may have not had the cool factor, but definitely when you climb inside, this is where it all begins, and it's right in the pilot seat. And where you're going to notice it the most is not in the middle of the dash, but right there on the gauges. First off is the chargeability factor, the hybrid system on the left side, replacing the standard tachometer with, well, what you see there. The charge plus power factors that let you know, well, how efficient you're being. On the right side, the good old fuel gauge, which over a week's time, we barely saw move. But what I truly like, as always, is right in the middle. The good old LCD screen, the huge display of information, and I always start with the good old speed. Now this is where you can truly understand how fast you're going on any vehicle. Give me a good old digital readout, make it big. And if you notice, well, there is no speedometer in the traditional sense, so they got to take it to that. Now what's great is as you scroll down, this is where you're going to see all the information. The speed goes up above, so it's always there, but you're able to really toggle through, see what you're doing, change a whole bunch of settings, lets you know what exactly going on with the hybrid systems, to the entertainment, to whatever you need right here in front of the driver. Now on the left side, this is going to be where you utilize to get to that screen that you see between the gauges. This basically allows you to toggle up and down. On the right side, good old cruise control, and what you have is the adaptive cruise control. Set it, set the spacing, and pretty much allows this vehicle to set its own pace with traffic. As other vehicles move out of the way, it simply goes around. Now in some cases, I do prefer to allow the cruise to just kind of be steady. I'll note, I'll brake, whatever, but this one has a lot of radar sensing and pretty much handles everything without you really inputting it all. Now the minivans are getting bigger, or well, at least feel that way, and well, the screens in the dash are definitely getting bigger as well. This one being the Uconnect system, and what I like is everything is nice and intuitive, colorful and responsive. And what I'm referring to is, as you notice, as I press, a little circle goes around. Now it used to be that you just press and obviously you could tell that you were pressing it, but this gives you just enough feedback to let you know, hey, this is what I'm targeting. And that comes specifically helpful when you're into maybe finer areas that require just a little bit more pinpoint precision. Now down below are shortcuts. Now a lot of vehicles, they're hiding this away, basically coming up as you get closer, just unnecessary. Uconnect keeps them there all the time, basically allowing you to have your favorites down here. And what I'm referring to is go to the apps section. This is pretty much where you can take some of these shortcuts, drag them down here. For example, let's say we want the Wi-Fi hotspot to always be there to be managed. Bring it down here and let go. It replaces the one that was there. Now that's helpful because pretty much you can have your favorites real easy. And of course there are tons more. Find what you're looking for and well, add it down here. One thing we'll look at is maybe the hybrid specific area. This kind of lets you know what's going on, and if you have an engineering degree, you might be able to figure it out. But pretty much for the most part, this diagram will really allow novices like myself to understand how it's really operating. It even gives you a driver history to let you know how bad or good you're doing when it comes to efficiency, but it's there when you want to kind of, well, adapt to what this vehicle can do. Now there's not a Boeing 747 feel by any means on this vehicle, and I've seen so many vans that just have a lot going on here. Now with the Uconnect system, well, that pretty much hides all the buttons that you typically would need and well, minimizes to what you see here. Now first off is climate. Now what I like is basically there's a huge central knob, allows you to really find that fan speed with these symmetric knobs for prettiness up here, volume select, tune select, a little bit of functions in here when it comes to the parking assist, which pretty much allows you to autonomously kind of park, the parking sensors on and off, and of course the lane departure. And what I like is that everything is right here, real easy and minimal. Now this little crazy thing over here is the actual gear shifter. Now don't get confused, because sometimes you might reach up here, turn the volume up instead of shifting to the gear. Now that again, put your foot on the brake, dial in specifically your transmission setting, drive, whatever, and real easy, put it in park, and you do of course have electronic brake. But as for climate, dual zones up front, you do have the tri-zone system. Now what I prefer is again to have a shortcut right here for climate, and that's helpful really when it comes to the backseat driver saying, I'm too hot, I can't feel anything. The best part is you click a rear climate, you have everything right here, and of course they have it up above them on the ceiling, but oftentimes they don't know how to work it, so simply utilize it right here. Low on the dash, tucked away, is this tray right here. You can put electronics, whatever. You can charge them pretty quickly, have the auxiliary jack, but that is a nice shallow tray. Not going to hold every phone because the phones keep getting bigger, but it does at least allow you to have it somewhat in there. Good old DVD, CD player down here, and some extra storage down below. This is really for maybe DVDs if you still watch those, coins if you use them, maybe going through tolls. But a huge tray, something that minivans have done quite well, is always having enough storage to go around. Even better is another tray way down low, and you can put your charging devices in there, the good old standard plug and the USB, really charge things and keep things out of the way. Between the front seats, you will also find dual cup holders. I like the fact that it has these rubber gaskets here. Really allows you to put bigger or smaller drinks in here. It squeezes in or holds them just the same. Now this is a tray up top, really hides things away, opens up. A little bit shallow, but it can house just a few things. And the reason why this isn't very deep, I'll show you from the back side. The actual rear cup holders are stored below this, so it allows it to slide up and be out of the way when you don't need them. Backseat drivers will find room in the outer doors for their drinks, but there's a better one right behind the center console. Nice long tray that comes out, holds 2 cup holders, also can go away, so it can just be a nice storage area. But basically when you need to hold drinks, this will get far enough in place to, well, occupy the backseat drivers. Now in the third row there were screens. In the second row there are screens just the same. They go into place with ease, pretty much manually go up and down. Allows you to really block out some more sun to help cool things down. Now one thing to note, their side windows are also operational. Not like the old days where there'd be a vent, pop it open, let some air somehow through. Instead, now they actually go down, really allowing for a lot better airflow, really making it feel, well, almost like a sedan. Now it does for this edition of Road Warrior and a test drive behind the wheel of the 2018 Chrysler Pacifica, a vehicle you may or may not be considering, mainly because you're only one person and, well, not a soccer team. But what's great is when you need a vehicle that can deliver everyone to the game, this truly might be the best option. And it all starts again with a decent engine, even better some hybrid technology, great fuel economy, and, well, heck, room for 7. And even better, that room comes with comfort, well, and some electronics. Also, you got plenty of room in that third row cargo area, well, to deliver all the gear just the same. And what's great about this vehicle is sometimes it's great to be the driver, and in other cases it doesn't hurt to be driven. So again, thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior. Keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.